I texted Chase because he was at work. He had to be at work at 5 a.m. that morning. I said, my back's been hurting. It's been like waxing and waning. It comes and goes every 5 minutes. It's just back pain. I think I slept wrong. And he said, Erin, back pain doesn't come every 5 minutes. When my back hurts, like it's not
It doesn't come and
waxing
go.
and waning pain.
Right.
Like it sounds like you're in labor.
Hi, I'm Kayla Heater, follower of Jesus, wife and mother of 5 children, Christian childbirth educator and doula, and your host of the Surrendered Birth Stories podcast, where we share God-centered birth stories, evidence-based birth education, and our pursuit of surrendering our birth plans to God. Let's get started. Hey everybody, want to apologize. My throat is a little froggy today, so excuse my voice, but I hope your week is off to a great start. I wanted to reach out and just say if anyone has been thinking about sharing their birth story on the podcast, please click the link in the show notes where it will send you to a form to fill out that comes straight to me. And I'll get you hooked up and on the schedule to record. We are trying to record several episodes ahead of time so that when our sweet little baby comes later this year, that we can take a break from recording for a couple months. So I'm just trying to get ahead of things, get on top of things. So we would love to hear your story, or if you know that somebody else who has a story that you think would be great for this podcast, then send this to them so that they can share. I've also gotten a few really great ideas recently for some topical episodes that have been requested. I know we do those every once in a while. We'll veer from a birth story and do a birth topic. So also if you have a birth or something, to do with pregnancy or labor, birth, postpartum, newborn life, if you have a topical episode that you would like to do or you would like for me to do, please reach out and let me know about that. Either send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. We are getting some topical episodes in the queue as well. So feel free to send your ideas along. Okay. Because of my voice, that's all I have for today's intro. Let's get into this week's episode. When your first labor is faster than lightning, what can you expect for your second? Well, apparently the same. Erin goes against the norm with her birth stories, as you'll hear today. She only fully realized she was in labor for about 15 minutes before she was holding her baby in her arms. She was physically alone, other than her toddler who was right next to her, but God had fully prepared her for this situation and was right there alongside her. And thankfully, help was right outside, not that she needed it. Hear how God weaved Erin's birth story together in this unlikely series of events. Welcome to another episode of Surrendered Birth Stories. I am your host, Kayla Heater, and I have Erin back with me today. Erin and her husband, Chase, were on episode 29 of the podcast, and it was their first baby and a wild story, so you should definitely go back and listen to it. But it sounds like this one is equally as wild, so I'm excited to hear it. But Erin, for those who don't have the time to go listen to that one right now, can you take a minute and just introduce yourself and tell us about you and your family and your life and help us get to know you?
Yeah. My name is Erin Hamrick, and I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 now. My first baby, Titus, he is 19 months now, and then I have an 8-week-old. She's 8 weeks old today. Her name is Kylie, and this is her story. Beforehand, I was a legal assistant at a law firm, and I also owned a bakery, and I went to culinary school when I was 16 and graduated from college when I was 18 and have done a million things since. So I think like I've done everything from working at a dairy and like milking cows to being in a law firm.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
a
kind of a little bit of
span.
everything.
I was like looking at your yummy pictures of whatever you're baking on Facebook or Instagram or wherever I see those.
I do a lot that I don't take pictures of too. I'm really bad about taking pictures. Like I just I
Well,
just forget to do it. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for this person to see it, and then don't take a picture to post about later. So
I just also remember that one time you came over, we were doing like a mom's group, and you brought those amazingly delicious muffins out of the blue. And I was like, wow, gosh, I haven't had an Erin creation in a hot minute. That was delicious.
well, I'm glad that you really liked them because I like making things for people. Most of the time I make things and then we only eat like one or two and I give everything
And you
else
give everything else
away.
away.
I'm like, here, have all of this.
It's
So
good portion control though. Because if
yeah.
they're in the house, I'll just eat them all.
Yep.
Well, if my kids don't get to it first, which usually they do. So
Yeah, you have to like fight them for it. I was like making cookies and then we end up like I'll let Titus eat like half of one because he's so young. I'm like,
little.
I don't want you to have all the sugar in the world, but
Yeah.
you can have some sugar. He's just wild, so it's like it's times 10 if he has sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it challenging to be a baker.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so tell us a story of getting pregnant with her. Was this a plan? Were we like super excited on purpose, or was it a total shock?
It was planned. So like I had gone back to work with Titus to the law firm and then lost that job because they didn't want a baby in the office anymore, which is understandable. But like they wouldn't pay me more to where we could afford daycare. So it was like this is kind of the only option. So then it became stay at home. And it was around 4.5, he was around like 4.5 months old when we decided to start trying because I didn't want an only child. And like beforehand, Chase and I, or we talked about in our first podcast that we didn't originally want any kids at all.
Right.
And that we just felt like really convicted, like led to have children. And thinking back on it, a lot of my like the reasoning behind it for my side was fear around childbirth and pregnancy because you just grow up hearing all these horror stories of pregnancy and birth. And it wasn't until my friend Carly was talking about like home birth and how you can do it at home because like I also don't like hospitals, so like it was nice to hear that there was another way that you can have babies. And so like she was going to have a home birth with hers and kind of educated me on home birth. And that's what led to us having Titus at home. And that also helped alleviate my fears of having a baby and just in general. So that really, really helped a lot. And then I felt like God was really leading me towards no fear. You shouldn't have fear in your life surrounding things that He has to bless you with. And just like trying to live without being fearful of the future. And so that played a big part in this one, especially since our financial situation had changed very drastically. And so, but I still knew that we wanted a second baby. Chase did not feel the same way at first, but he didn't argue at all. Like he was just like, okay, like I'm happy with Titus, I'm happy with one baby, but if you want to, like we'll have two. So like it's not that he didn't want Kylie to begin with, it was just he was content with one. And so like we've talked about since then having more kids, like since having her even like we've
Yeah.
talked about it. And he was said that he wasn't opposed to having more kids. It's more like
He'd
having
be fine if you didn't.
yeah,
Well, I get that. My husband was like that with our first. He was like, "She's perfect. She's wonderful. Like
yeah.
we don't need any more. This is lovely." Um, but obviously, we had some more, so
Yes.
things change.
A good amount more. But yeah,
Hmm.
so we've just like talked since then, and he's like he's not opposed to having more kids. He was talking about how like you're a little more sane if you have less children. And I was like, you're assuming number one that I was sane before we had kids. So like it's not a valid argument to say that you don't want kids because you want to keep your sanity. So but I totally get it. But he is very much on board with having Kylie after we like talked about it. And then we just, started trying when Titus was 4.5 months. And I had like done the math in my head of, even beforehand when he was like 2 months old. So with Titus, I really wanted an October baby. And so like we had started trying in order to have like an October baby, and he was born in December. And so like because it took us a while to get pregnant. And then like I'd been praying about it, and I heard his voice say, "You're gonna have an October baby, it's gonna be a girl." And I was like, that seems really soon. I have a 2-month-old baby, but okay, like if that's what God has for me. And then a couple weeks later, my sister told me that she was pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're due in October. And I was like, it's going to be a girl. Like God told me that you're going to have a girl. And she was born in October, and it was a girl. So I was like, okay, so you'll tell me about other people's kids, but you won't tell me about mine because I've been praying about it and got like nothing about like what we were gonna have, or like when we were gonna have it or anything. It was just kind of like I just had peace about having a baby. It wasn't any specific information, but I did know weirdly about my sister's baby. So that was kind of fun though. It was really cool to know that information beforehand. Um,
Yeah.
but thinking it was gonna be me was kind of weird because I was like, we're gonna have babies that are like 10 months apart.
Right.
If that were
That's
to happen.
literally back to back. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it took us 4.5 months to get pregnant with her, and we found out in September. And I had been like doing natural cycle tracking,
Mm-hmm.
and I could never get like a consistent read. I could never like tell when I think it's LH or something was high. And so I just never knew when I was ovulating.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had been doing all this tracking, and I could never really figure out when I was ovulating, but we were just, we just weren't using any protection. So it was like it was gonna happen at some point. Just didn't know when. And then it ended up like I just took a pregnancy test on a whim at the same time I was taking one of the ovulation tests. Um, and it came up pregnant. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I hadn't had any signs or anything. It was kind of faint, but it was definitely there. And so like later on, it was at nighttime too. So like I know that you're supposed to like it's better to take them in the morning. So like I took one the next day, and it was even darker, and I was like, oh, we're pregnant. And it ended up being that we were like 3 weeks pregnant. It was really early. So it felt like the pregnancy was forever with her.
Because you found out so
so
early on.
um it was like forever and also short. So but it was sweet. And like that's how we found out, and we were excited. So I just like randomly took a test and then took it to Chase, and I was like, we're pregnant. And he was like, oh, that's exciting. So he was
Great.
on board with it. And I mean, we told Titus, but he was 9 months old, so he doesn't know anything.
He's like, right.
Yeah.
So how did the pregnancy go then?
It was like Titus's, except I had like with Titus's, I had a lot of food aversions, and I didn't have any food aversions this time. I think I had a couple, but none that I could remember. Like it was just like an in the moment, like, oh, I don't want that. But then I could eat whatever it was again later. I didn't really want coffee the first trimester. I did crave, or like I wanted sugar, which is completely opposite from Titus. Like I wanted nothing to do with sugar. I only wanted salty things. I didn't eat sugar for the longest time with him. And then, but I wanted sugar with her. So I would like treat myself to like a cookie at night or something, because I still tried to eat healthy. It was a lot harder with the toddler running around. And the first trimester, I was so tired. And I did not experience that with Titus. Like everybody kept talking about like pregnancy tired and how like the first trimester can be so hard. And I was just like, oh, that never happened. That wouldn't happen to me. And then I was I was like knocked out, so tired all the time. And then if Titus was finding a nap, he is a hardcore sleep fighter. It was really tough because I would just be like crying because like I want to take a nap too. Like, can we please go to sleep now? And so like every time he napped, I would take a nap because I was just exhausted. But thankfully like that let up, and I did have like low iron. So once I started taking an iron supplement, that really helped out. But I was still tired. So that was probably the biggest thing. I only threw up twice. Well, more than twice, but I got a stomach bug at Christmas, which was
Oh,
horrible. And I ended up having to have my midwife's assistant came and gave me an IV because I couldn't even keep water down. And I had been like 2 days without water and food and like could not stomach anything. And
mm.
so she came and gave me an IV, which helped a lot. And then after like 4 days, I was able to eat an apple. Like
Oh,
it was like a really rough stomach bug. And nobody else got it, thankfully. Even no one else at Christmas even got it. It was weird. It was just me that got the stomach bug because I originally thought it was food poisoning, but food poisoning doesn't last for 4 days.
right.
And no one else got it. So like if it was food poisoning, somebody else probably would have gotten food poisoning.
Yeah.
And so nope, it was just a stomach bug and it was horrible. And then the other time I threw up was Titus. We found out gets car sick now, and he threw up in the car, and I had to take like the whole thing inside with him in it because there was so much. And
Throw
so
up.
he
Mm.
has so much throw up, so I had to get him out, and I threw up trying to clean up his throw up because it was so gross. That was it. Like I probably would have thrown up even if I wasn't pregnant.
So not like nauseous pregnant threw up, just like these two random situations made me throw up when I was pregnant.
Yes.
That would
And it
have made
was
anybody throw up.
yes.
So once you got past the exhaustion and all of that, and you were able to drink coffee again and kind of like be normal again, you took your iron supplements, all the things, you're feeling better. We know you're planning another home birth.
Mhm.
So that's exciting. So how does the end of pregnancy go? And dare I ask, how does labor start and when did it start?
Yeah, so we decided to go with the home birth route again. Since our financial situation had changed, I had looked at other options just because, if you can get covered by insurance, it, isn't financially as daunting. But I really wanted a home birth again anyways, and Patricia was so sweet and was willing to work with us. So like that was such a blessing. And so like he just kept showing us like, I will support you. Like this is what I have for you, so I'm going to support you through it. And so like we kept getting like surprise things that would come our way, which was so nice. And like we bad things still happen, but like but he carried us through all of it. Like at Christmas, our dryer died, a pipe burst in the wall, and like we had all of these things that happened all at the same time that we had to like cover financially, but I was like, we're still gonna do the home birth. Like we're just gonna do this. And Patricia was so sweet because it was like we were her first client, like repeat client. And so she was so sweet to like work with us. And that plays into the story later. But towards the end of pregnancy, like I think it was the 36-week appointment. It was one of the appointments. I think it was a week before I had her. She and her assistant came and they were asking things I hadn't even thought about, like, would you like to catch her? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like I guess I could try catching her. Like if I'm in the right position, like you guys are gonna be there. That's what we were hoping for. So
Right.
because they weren't there for Titus's, like she must have had like 3 minutes. So we were hoping they'd make it this time. And so she was asking, do you want photos and videos? And I was like, yes, because I didn't get any with Titus. I'd love some photos and videos of like being in labor. And like everything was looking good. And then leading up to that Tuesday before I had her on a Friday again. Titus was born on a Friday and she was born on a Friday. um, that Tuesday beforehand, I had a chiropractor appointment, which was the same with Titus. Like there were so many similarities, but also so many differences. But that Tuesday, I had a chiropractor appointment, and I was like, yeah, I'll probably see you next week or the week after because she's gonna go late. It's a girl, and like I was just expecting her to go late, and I'd been still sleeping with Titus at this point because we has a floor bed, it's a queen, and so like I had been sleeping with him because he just doesn't sleep through the night, and if he has to get out of bed, then he just is awake for a while. And so if you stay in there, if he wakes up, he'll just go right back to sleep. So I was still sleeping with him, and his bed is not comfortable because it's on the floor. And so I'm 9 months pregnant and sleeping on the floor with my toddler. And we woke up Friday morning. It was just like a normal Friday, and Titus was running around. And normally I'd like lay in the bed and like let him run around his room and play a little bit because he's an early riser. And I had some really bad insomnia. And so I wouldn't go to bed until like 1 a.m. a lot of the times with pregnancy. It was just like pregnancy insomnia. And so I was still tired. So I'd like lay in bed for a while. And I was laying there and like, it's like, yeah, my back's kind of sore.
Wait, and you're only 37 weeks?
39 weeks.
Oh,
It was
39
the 39 week on the dot was like
that
that
day.
Friday.
Okay.
And so I had a week, we had a huge weekend plan. My sister and her husband were moving, and so we were gonna like go help move. I still had meal prepping to do. I had all this stuff planned for the weekend, and so I just wasn't expecting her to come at 39 weeks, but she did. So, wake up, Titus is running around. I'm like, let's go get breakfast. My back is sore. And so we go. It's like 7:15 in the morning. And so we go out to the kitchen and I put him in his high chair and I start making eggs and I get him distracted with some other food. And he has to be like distracted when he's eating. And so I was like playing music and making eggs and my back was still hurting. And I was like, and it was waxing and waning. And so I was like, this is kind of weird. This might be labor, but I don't really know. It's just like, it just feels like back pain. So I texted Chase because he was at work. He had to be at work at 5 a.m. that morning because he was covering for somebody else. So he was doing two jobs. And I was like, this better not be labor because he's really busy. Like, we have all this stuff we have to do this weekend. So, this is maybe it's just prodromal labor. Maybe I'll get in the bathtub. So I texted him, what did I say? I said, my back's been hurting. It's been like waxing and waning. It comes and goes every 5 minutes. It's just back pain. I think I slept wrong. And he said, Erin, back pain doesn't like come every 5 minutes. Like if you have back pain, it's like consistent. Like my back hurts, like it's not
It doesn't come and
waxing
go.
and waning pain. Like
Right.
it sounds like you're in labor. And I was like, no, it's probably not. We're probably fine. And he was like, well, I'm going to see about wrapping up at work just in case, because it was just me at home with Titus. And my entire family was at the beach on vacation. So nobody could come and watch Titus. And my backup person, I had a backup person because we knew they were like my family was going to be at the beach. And it was just so close to delivery, like when she was due, that I was afraid just in case to have a backup person. My backup person was also at the beach.
Oh, man.
So I completely forgot that she was at the beach and I had texted her and I was like, hey, I might be in labor. Can you come watch Titus? And then immediately texted her and like remembered she was at the beach. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot you're at the beach. Don't worry about it. We're fine. I got this.
It'll all be good.
Yeah, we're good. So I'm like still having every 5 minutes, it feels like a contraction. And then I'm still making eggs. So I give Titus some eggs and I thought that I could eat eggs, but it made me nauseous. So I was like, I'm not gonna eat because I can't. I was too nauseous. Just like trying to eat the eggs. And they start getting stronger. So at this point, like when they come, I'm like, okay, yes, I believe these are contractions. I'm texting Chase and he says, you need to text Patricia because it sounds like you're in labor and I'm still wrapping up at work. Like I'm going to head home soon. And so I texted Patricia. It was 7:36 when I texted her and I said the same thing. I was like, I've been having waxing and waning pain in my back. I think I just slept wrong. And so she like I can read the exchange of texts, but it was only like 10 texts. Um, and so I'm still feeding Titus, trying to like clean up the kitchen, and then I have to use the restroom because my body's starting to purge. And so I have to pick up Titus out of his high chair because he can get out of his high chair. And so I didn't want him to fall. So I'd pick him up and put him on the floor, go to the bathroom, come back, pick him back up, put him in the high chair, and then like keep feeding him eggs. Like he can feed himself, but he's a better eater if you encourage him and like give him bites.
Yeah.
And we're still like listening to music and I'm texting Patricia and Chase and keeping them updated. And so I said like to Patricia that they were getting more intense. At this point, I'm having to, every time I'm having a contraction, I'm getting out of the chair and just squatting. And Titus is looking at me like I'm the craziest person in the world because I just keep squatting every couple of minutes. That was just the most comfortable position for me, was to be in a squat.
Were they still in your back, or were you starting to feel them in your
It
front?
was still in my back. And so it was like all back labor. And so I had to purge again so I could get Titus out of his high chair, put him on the floor, and he's just standing there like, where do you keep going? Why do you keep getting me out of my high chair? And so then I go to the bathroom again and I'm texting Patricia. I'm like, yeah, my body's purging. Like I wasn't even timing them like consistently. I was just like, I think they're every 5 minutes apart. I wasn't looking at a clock, although it probably should have been. And so then like after that second time, I pick up Titus, put him in his high chairs again for the second time, and they get stronger. And I texted Patricia that I would find, like, I would try and time them because I didn't know how far apart they were, how long they were lasting. So I was trying to download an app for like contractions to track them. So I
Mm-hmm.
finally did that, and they they were like 3 minutes apart and lasting 45 seconds to a minute. And so I was like, okay, maybe this is labor. Like maybe I'm like, we're gonna go get in the bath. Me and Titus, we're just gonna go get in the bath to see if it slows things down. And I tell Patricia, like I'm ready for you to come because they're 3 minutes apart. It's just me and Titus.
Right. Like I need
Chase
somebody
is,
else to come here.
yeah. And so like Chase is like on the way, or he's getting ready to leave. And so like I'm like, Titus, we're gonna go take a bath. He loves baths. He's fine with that. And then I was like, well, maybe they'll just keep coming at 3 minutes apart. So maybe I should put on a TV show for him instead of going to the bath. And so I sit on the recliner, and because he wants me to hold him the whole time. So I sit in a recliner with him. I'm turning on the TV to like get a show for him. And I have a contraction. And so I get out of the recliner to squat because that was just most comfortable for me. And he's whining because he wants me to hold him. And so I'm like holding him next to me and squatting on the floor in front of the recliner, and my water breaks.
Oh boy.
And it wasn't like a gush, it was like some came out. It wasn't all of it. It was just like some came out. I was like, okay, yep, this is definitely labor. And so I texted Patricia. I was like, hey, I think my water just broke. And she said that she would be there in 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, that's great.
What
And
time did your water break?
it must have been like 8:15. Let me look back at the text
So
real
you've been
quick.
awake for about an hour,
Yeah, not even an hour, or maybe an hour at this point.
wondering if you're in labor. And then at
Yeah,
8:15, your water breaks and you're finally
it was
convinced.
8:18 a.m. I said, I think my water broke when I
Okay.
texted her. And so then I go get Titus in the bathtub because he loves baths, so I can distract him in the bath. So I go and put him in the bath because he, squatting next to the bathtub isn't abnormal. Like
Right. We
he's
do
not
that
going to
all the
think it's
time.
weird, and he's not going to want me to hold him if he's in the bath because having contractions in the bath or and holding him was really hard. So I put him in the bathtub in our bathroom because I was going to put him in his bathroom in his bathtub, but a cat had pooped in the bathtub. And so it just worked out well though, because like I put him in our bathtub and like had to run and get some toys for him to play in the bathtub. And so like I'm running back and not running back and forth. There's like a wall between our bathtub and the toilet. And so like I can hear him, I just can't see him. And so I like would go back and forth between the toilet and like checking on him because I don't want him to think that I've left him or anything, and I don't want him to like fall in the tub, or because if you're gone too long, he'll stand up in the tub. I just didn't want him to fall or anything, and so and Patricia and I text her at this point and say like, here's the door code because we have like a keypad door. I was like, I'm gonna try to get to the door, but just in case I don't get there, here's the door code. And she said, that's great. I'll be there in a couple of minutes. And so I'm still laboring. I'm sitting on the toilet, and she comes in the house, like lets herself in, which is fantastic, and puts down her stuff. Like I can see from like the way our layout is, like I can see our bed. She comes like right in our bedroom and puts down her stuff next to our bed. And she looks at me, and I'm just sitting there on the toilet. And she says, are you okay? Like, can I go grab the rest of my stuff? You look like you're fine. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like I'm doing great. this is fantastic. The contractions really aren't like crazy painful. Um, it's just contraction pain, and squatting really helped relieve that pain. And so I was like, yeah, go out, get the rest of your stuff, we'll be fine. And so she goes outside, and at that, like a little bit after that, I had a contraction, and I was still sitting on the toilet, so I squat on there, and I'm like, oh man, like I'm going to poop on the floor. And at the same time, I was like, nope, that's not poop. And put my hands down there. And sure enough, that's the baby. And so, like, with this contraction, she comes out. The
With
whole, like,
her
not just
whole
her head or
body
anything, her whole, like, all of her comes out all at once. And I'm
after you
holding
just
her.
told Patricia to go outside.
Yeah. And I had told Patricia that it was fine to go outside. And so she's outside getting the rest of her stuff. And I am squatting in front of the toilet holding my newborn baby, and she cries, and Titus is still like in the bathtub next to us, so he goes baby because he hears her cry. It was so cute. And when she came out, her cord was like scarfed around the back of her neck, like it wasn't wrapped around her neck, but it was like a scarf around the neck. So like I'm holding this slippery slimy baby and trying to like put her in one
Unwrap
hand,
her.
like squatting on the floor, like trying to put her in one hand and get the cord like from around her neck, because I can't pull her up to me because of the way the cord's like wrapped around the back of her neck. So like I finally get the cord off the back of her neck and pull her up to me, and I'm like holding her and then sit back down on the toilet because like squatting deep squats for that long can be uncomfortable. So like I
Right.
sat back down on the toilet to get some relief. And then Patricia walks back, and then she was like, I thought you were fine. You said you were fine. Like, what happened? There's a baby now. And it was so fast. So like my first text with her was at 7:36 that I might be in labor, and then Kylie was born at 8:34.
Oh man.
And then Chase comes in after Patricia, like Patricia's helping put a towel on her, and then Chase comes in, and because he was at home or like on his way home from work still. And so he
Right.
comes in, and Titus is in the tub, and Patricia's helping me with the baby. And like, because they had been like, they saw each other outside. So like, he was still getting stuff out of his car, but she came in. And so like, he was like just a couple seconds behind her, but it was so fast. And it was great though. So she helped
Oh.
like get me to the bed and everything after that. And Titus, Chase takes Titus out of the tub, and he's like all interested in the baby, and it's like it was really cute.
Oh my goodness. The first time Chase got to catch because nobody was there.
Hmm.
And the second time you got to catch because nobody was there again, but literally nobody, not even Chase.
Yeah, yeah, literally nobody, just Titus, and Titus is not able to catch a baby.
Right. Titus is kind of still a baby, so.
Yep. But God had prepared me beforehand for that to happen, because I just had like I would like joke around and be like, "Oh yeah, like I'm prepared." Or like somebody, like God had put it on my mind to like be mentally prepared to deliver my baby like by myself with Titus. And it's like I would joke around with like my friends, and even like in that appointment before with Patricia, I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm prepared to deliver her myself, just me and Titus." And then that happened. So like I'm glad that I had prepared for that just in case. And like I had the forethought to like, while after I put Titus in the tub, I put down one of those like the doggy pads in front of the toilet
Hmm.
just in case. Like I just had a feeling that that was where she would be born, because that's where Titus was born. It was right in front of the toilet in our bathroom. And that's where she was born too. So it worked out really well.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and your wildly fast births.
It
This
was
is.
really wildly fast.
Well, and the fact that I think what throws it too is that you hear of some women having these precipitous labors that are, like less than 3 hours from start to finish, but they're so intense. And it's like they start off intense, they continue to be intense the whole time. It's like they can't catch their breath. The contractions are so strong, like everything is happening so quickly. But
Hmm.
with you, it's more like you don't even experience that. It's like not only do you have a really fast labor, but your labor is not even like super intense. You're questioning whether or not you're even in labor. You're questioning whether or not this is it. And that happened in your first story too. And your first story was even more wild because A, it was your first, and B, your contractions were so far apart,
Hmm.
for your
Yeah,
first
to
one.
begin with.
Yeah. So this is just wild to me. Just totally
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it was really fast. And like, I forgot to mention that at the same time, like right after I texted Patricia, I texted my sister because she wanted to hopefully possibly make it again. She missed Titus's. She's never seen a birth and she wanted to see a birth. And so I texted her and she never texted back. And it turns out that she was still sleeping. And so like we just because I had no time to text anybody else. Like it just wasn't on my mind to like let any of the family know because like no one was there. So I was like, no one can show up. Everyone's at the beach. There's just no point in saying anything.
Right.
And I was still in denial. Up until my water broke, I was in denial that it was real labor. Like I was like,
So up
probably still
until 15
prodromal.
minutes before she was born, you were.
Yeah, it was 15 months before she was born. And so yeah, once my water broke, I was like, yeah, this is real. I'm in labor. And so when she was born, we just took a like my husband after I'd gotten back in the bed, like took a picture of us together and we just sent that to the family group text. And like everyone was like, what? There's another baby? Like this has to be a joke. And then my sister texted separately and she was like, I can't believe I missed it again. Like it was pretty great.
Something
Um,
tells me if your sister wants to make it to your next birth, she's going to have to be living with you for the
yep.
last few weeks of your
Yeah,
pregnancy.
exactly. Like we're just gonna have to live together if she wants to see a birth because apparently they go really quickly. So
Can't even run to the grocery store because you might miss it. You
yeah,
just you gotta stay
exactly.
together.
Yeah, but it worked out really well. And she like we did the same thing. We kept her name a secret. Her name is Kylie Afia, and Afia is from the Bible. And it was hard. Like we originally thought, I thought it was going to be another boy just because the pregnancy was so easy. And so, like I had a boy name picked out, and Chase refuses to talk about names until we know what it is. Like we have to know what it is, and before he'll even talk about names. And so after we found out it was a girl, I was surprised that it was a girl. Not unhappy. I was just surprised because I was like, I thought it would be a boy because this has been like almost easier than Titus's pregnancy, which was a really easy pregnancy anyway. So
Yeah.
um, it took us a long time to find a name, and Chase was no help. Bless him. I would just come up with all these ideas, and he would just say no or like shoot it down, and then not offer any in exchange.
Right.
So I was like,
No,
you have
I
to
don't
help out
like
here.
these, but I'm not also going to suggest anything.
Yeah, it's just like he finally decided he liked names that ended in Lee. And so like I would just look for names that ended with like the Lee sound. And so like Kylie ended up being her name. And then I was looking for like a biblical component because we have Titus. We wanted another name that was biblical. And so he really liked Chase really liked Aphia. And it goes hand in hand with Titus's middle name, which is Apollo. And so like they both start with A and have P in them, and they're their first name. So Chase, Titus, and Kylie, their first name and middle name all have the same amount of letters. And so
Oh, cool.
it just worked out.
So, how did this postpartum go? Because for those who heard your first story, breastfeeding was way more of a challenge than anyone expected or anticipated. Beyond the latching, it was the milk.
Yeah.
And so we know from last time you had IGT, and with that, usually you have it stays, like you keep it, it doesn't go away, but it isn't supposed to be like 20% better or something like that with each
Yeah.
pregnancy.
It's supposed to be like 33% better each pregnancy. Your like breast tissue is supposed to grow by like 33%. Um, and so for those who don't know, IGT is insufficient glandular tissue. So basically, my breast did not develop the tissues needed to produce milk. And we didn't know that until I had Titus. And it was a pretty severe case. He lost his 10% really quickly and even lost weight at the lactation consultant appointment, like the first one when I was like, because they try to measure, like you feed the baby and they measure, so they measure before and then you feed the baby with both breasts and then they measure again. And he had lost weight the first time. And so like we did triple feeding for a really long time with him. We kept that up for 3 weeks. And he got to the point where he just wouldn't want to latch because there was nothing there for him. And
Mm-hmm.
so I completely understood. I could empathize with him, like that he wouldn't want to do that. So like we quickly transitioned just to the bottle, like and I would offer him the bottle beforehand and then try to get him to latch. Um and so it was really helpful to know that I had IGT this go around. We were still getting like breast milk for Titus up until like a month before she was born, and then what we had in our fridge or in our freezer from our donor is what I had like stashed for her. And like we got Titus onto cow milk, and so we knew we would have to supplement, but I wasn't sure like when the best time to do that was. And so I was still in contact with Jessica, the lactation consultant, and she's absolutely wonderful. And she didn't have to come out or anything. She just told me that I could text her any questions if I needed help. And so she ended up losing postpartum, like for me, like recovery was awesome. I didn't tear this time. I did tear with Titus. And I thought for sure, like, since it was so fast that I probably torn and I had no tears, not even skid marks. It was just an absolute miracle to have nothing. And so recovery for me, like I felt great. It was fantastic. And yeah, that was good. Like postpartum for me has been really easy as far as that goes. But with the IGT, she lost her 10% within the 2 days. Like we were just trying breastfeeding. And like I was in contact with lactation consultant about, when should we start supplementing? Um, what's best for her. And so it was just breast for a while. She latched really well. Titus had no ties. She had a little bit of a lip tie, but it didn't seem to affect her at all. Like she had a great latch and suck and everything. And so we did exclusive breast for the first 48 hours. And then after that, when we weighed her and she had lost her 10%, then we started supplementing. And she still will latch. Like she's only 8 weeks old, so she'll still latch. It's not that's just like a little snack and for comfort, really. We never measured or anything to see like how much she was actually getting, but it's still not a significant amount. And I was originally told that because it was so bad with Titus that I'd probably have to have 12 babies before I could ever feed one
Mm.
like fully. So
That's a lot of
it was
babies,
nice.
Erin.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have 12 babies, but it was nice to know like ahead of time, so that I could prepare mentally for not being able to feed her by like with myself. Like obviously we had donor milk, we had donor breast milk, so that was really nice. And so she's been well fed. um, she's not she's not going hungry, and she actually eats a ton. So um, it's been really nice to have such amazing people that can overproduce and are willing to donate milk. So that's been a real blessing. But I only cried once because of the breast thing. Like I knew it was coming, but still have all those emotions from just having a baby. And so like I just had like one session of crying. It wasn't like days of crying like it was with Titus. It was just
Yeah.
like one, like I'm sad about this, that's still not happening, but I'm okay with it. Like I've come to peace with it. I've prayed about it a lot. And like, yes, our God is a miracle working God, but he also has a better plan for us. So it's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
um like I did still try all the things, but it's okay. Just didn't work out, and that's okay. But she still latches. She's lasted longer than Titus did with latching. He was done by like 6 weeks. Like he was so over trying to um breastfeed that it was like a bad experience for him. So
Yeah.
I didn't want that for her. So like I just started offering, like once she got to the point where she didn't want to latch because she knew the bottle would give it to her faster, I just started giving her the bottle first. And then if she wanted to still latch after that, I would let her breastfeed. But It was really
Hmm.
mostly for comfort, and she
Yeah.
might get a little bit of a snack. But yeah, it's been good though. Postpartum's been good, and it was pretty uneventful so far.
Right, because you're still in it. You're only 8 weeks in here. It's like sometimes I forget some people come on the podcast, their babies are like a year old. And so they're like remembering all this stuff. But then when I get to talk to somebody, I'm like, oh, you just had this baby. This baby is fresh and and you're
Yep.
still in the middle of postpartum.
Yes. Oh, the placenta came faster with her this time. So like with Titus, it was like an hour before I felt like the contractions of like cramping of needing to get the placenta out. But with her, it was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe after. It was before her assistant had even made it there. So like when she lives a little further away, like 15 minutes away. And so by the time she got there, I was delivering the placenta. And Patricia, when she said, she originally texted Catherine, her assistant, that I was ready for them to come. Like, Catherine said that she was thinking that she had already missed it. She was like, she's ready for us to come. She's probably having the baby now. Like, I'm going to miss it again. So, just because she lives further away. But at least Patricia didn't completely miss it this time. She was here, she just wasn't in the
In the
house.
house when it was happening.
Yeah.
So through this experience, again, very similar to your first, but this time like having the heads up of that, like, and knowing that
Mhm.
that was a genuine possibility. What do you feel like the Lord taught you the most this time around?
Probably just to rely on him and that he will provide. Just because we were in a different financial situation. So I was really nervous. And anytime that I would get like really stressed about finances or like anything, like he would just provide. Like somebody gave us a free dryer when our dryer died. We had friend like my uncle came and patched the wall when the pipe burst. Like people just kept showing up, and I'm a very independent person. I do not like asking for help. And so like I generally do not ask for help. And he just kept showing me that like you can depend on other people. Like I will put people in place to help you, even if you don't ask for it. So he just like kept showing that he was providing for us, and he continues to provide for us, and that these are the blessings that he has for us, and that he will make a way for them to be in our life. Like the they've just been, I can't imagine living or like having life without them. Like Chase and I have talked several times, been like, can you imagine not having them right now? Like what would we be doing? And it's like so boring thinking
Right.
thinking
Our life
about
would
it.
be so dry.
There wouldn't be all this love. There's so much love like with these
Yeah.
babies. So, and they're so cute, and we love them so much. So it's just, it really is a love like no other. It was really overwhelming each. Well, I've only had two babies, but like with each birth so far, it's been like this overwhelming love that you just feel. And it's like, how much more can God love us? Like, if I can feel this much love for my babies, like how much more can is God loving us? Because he just provides so well for all of us. And it feels like it really connects. Being a mother feels very connecting to God, and like going through pregnancy and childbirth just feels like the spiritual world is closer. Like he's just closer in a way.
I feel that too. I like the way you put that. Any advice? I know last time on the episode, you guys were advising parents to get educated, to take a class, to get prepared, which I think is great advice. But do you have
Yes.
any advice this time?
Stay active. I think that really helps play a role. Obviously, still educate. Like I continued to educate myself throughout the pregnancy with her, and like I still listened to your podcast and other podcasts, and but also staying active. So like I ended up getting a job at a farm store and was lifting like 50-pound bags of feed and stuff while I was pregnant with her. And so like I feel like that might have helped play a role, and it just helped with like mobility of my body, like just being able to move, also having a toddler to chase and pick up all the
Hmm.
time. That'll also help with
That helps too.
mobility. Yeah, but just like staying active. I didn't get to do with Titus, I did everything. Like I did the raspberry leaf tea and I tried to eat dates and all that stuff. And I was very hit or miss doing any of that with her. Like I really tried to consistently do those. And it was like once a week I might have had raspberry leaf tea.
Right, not
um,
enough to probably make an effect.
yeah, exactly. So like, but I think that just staying active and mobile is really what helped. And like, even though I was so exhausted in the first like trimester, I would still try to get out and do things. And it just really helped. I think it helped. And also going to the chiropractor and like,
Oh, yes.
that seems to be like also a theme was the chiropractic care was really helpful.
So usually this is where I would end it, but I've been realizing Chase was here with us last time when we did this. And so I'm just wondering if you could tell us, how did he feel about missing the birth?
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I asked him if he wanted to be a part of the podcast, and he was like, I can't contribute anything because I wasn't there. And so he felt like he didn't really need to be in it because he wasn't there. But he wasn't upset that he missed it. He was just happy he didn't have to catch her this time.
Right,
Because
because that was like a fear of his last time.
yeah, because he had to catch Titus last time, so he was just like, it was your turn and you did a great job. But he didn't feel like he missed anything really. I mean, there wasn't much to miss because I mean, start to finish, it was like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes.
Right,
So
which an hour of that time you were wondering whether or not it was even real. So,
exactly. I was still like in total denial that it was labor. And Patricia, like, thankfully, she was already packed up. Like, she told me later, she was already packed up in her car. And I didn't know her husband and her newborn were with her too. And they were just outside, like, in the car because they were all packing up to go to a homeschool conference. And so when I texted her, they were getting ready to leave. And she was just like, we need to wait just in case she needs us to come. And so she was already in the car, like waiting for me to say, come on,
come,
like,
come,
I'm
let's
in
do this.
labor. And she like in the beginning, before like she even took me on, because of the changes, the reason she was willing to work with us so much is she was afraid that we wouldn't make it anywhere again. So
Yeah, I don't think you would have either. You definitely
yeah,
would have had some
definitely
kind of
not.
car baby.
No, it wouldn't even have been like I definitely wouldn't even tried to like drive myself somewhere because by the time like my water broke, that was when I was really, in the mind frame of this is actually labor. And then she came 15 minutes later. So we definitely wouldn't have made it anywhere because we live 25 minutes from the nearest hospital. So
Yeah.
like it would have been a car baby. And I wasn't about to try to load up my toddler and myself in the car to go
And
anywhere to
drive
have a
yourself.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Chase wasn't home. So it would have been a home birth either way.
Either way. So, well, why don't we just plan it to be at home? That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
think they'll just all be home from now on. If we have
hmm.
any more, we'll see.
I'm not sure I've ever heard of anyone having a home birth and then going anywhere else after that.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like once you have a home birth, it's like that's just where you have your babies. I mean, not like planning to go anywhere else. Anyways, I know there are transfers and stuff, but
yeah,
yeah, no one, no one plans it anywhere else.
yeah. I
Well,
don't think that I could
thanks.
could make it. I mean, if we do have another one, and like people would joke and say like that she was going to come faster than Titus, and I'm like, I don't really want like I would pray during pregnancy, but I didn't ask for anything specific because I wasn't sure what to pray for and I didn't want to be disappointed. If
Uh-huh.
that makes sense. Like I didn't want to pray and be like, I hope this is better than Titus's, but Titus's went so well anyways and was so quick that I didn't want to like get my hopes up that it was gonna
Right.
be another quick labor and like just go as smoothly as it did. And God answered those unasked prayers really because like I was afraid to ask for those things because I didn't want to disappoint myself. So and like
Yeah.
I feel like it's better to be mentally prepared to go late and to like prepare for a long labor,
Yeah.
just because that is so normal.
Yeah.
And so like I was just prepared for not an hour and 20-minute labor and delivery.
You were a Girl Scout. You were prepared. You were
Yep.
you're ready for anything.
Yeah, be prepared. It's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone. Prepare as much as you can, because there are still curveballs, and there's always going to be curveballs, but still prepare.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming back. Thank you for sharing. This was great. I knew the really tiny version of that story, but it was good to hear the whole thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can reach me at Surrendered Birth Services on Instagram or email me at contact@surrenderedbirthservices.com. Be sure not to miss an episode by hitting the follow button. Also, we'd love for you to leave a written review of the show so that more people's births and lives can be changed by the love of Jesus and the empowerment of accurate birth education. If you really enjoyed this episode in particular, please take a screenshot of it and post it to your Instagram story, tagging Surrendered Birth Services. If you would like to be a guest on the Surrendered Birth Stories podcast, please click the link in the episode show notes to fill out your interest form. Also, if you're interested in taking my childbirth classes, birth consultations, or having me as your birth doula, please click on the link in the show notes to take you to my website for online and in-person options. Just as a reminder, this show is not giving medical advice, so please continue to see your personal care provider as needs arise. We hope you have a great week, and remember, learn all that you can, make the best plans, and then leave it in God's hands.
I still don't have any photos or videos of any of my labor.
Right, because it's just you. Like, what do you?
Yeah, it's just me.
Selfie catching my baby.
Next time I was like, I was like, I should take a selfie and just didn't do it. But next, if we do have another one, I'm definitely gonna like at least take a selfie.
while you're catching your baby, like
yeah, just like while I'm catching the baby.
So,
yep.